quickly before we get into this video, I just want to apologise. Again, my camera decided not to work, so apologies. I've no idea, it just seems to happen completely randomly. But yeah, fingers crossed next time round it'll be back once more. Hello everyone and welcome back to a brand new video where today we're here finally back once more with the F1 22 Haas Road to Glory. Of course, we've been very busy over the last few weeks. F1 Manager, F1 22 My Team, of course. If you missed out on the finale from that went live Monday, I would highly recommend going back and checking out. But I'm going to try and get more of the Haas Road to Glory then in over the next couple of weeks. I didn't want it lining up too much with real life Formula 1, so of course we had the Italian Grand Prix at the weekend. We're going to jump into this series today and then hopefully we'll get quite far. I'm hoping actually to get this season done before next time out in real life in Singapore. But of course, if you've missed out on the last couple of videos, we've really hit our stride in the Haas Road to Glory, the Dutch Grand Prix. I'm going to say it now, I would definitely recommend going back and checking out. That is your warning for spoiling. Your warning for spoilings. That is your warning for spoilers before we jump into this video here tonight. But of course, a massive thank you as well to all of you guys for the insane and continued support on the channel. We're getting close to 83k at the moment at the time of recording. Of course, trying to hit 100k by the end of the year. If you could help me get one step closer, it would be greatly appreciated. But yeah, back at the Temple of Speed though this weekend. Didn't suit Haas at all in real life Formula 1, but on the game we have got a very quick car down the straight. Championship wise, we're currently duking it out with the Mercedes boys for P5 overall in the championship. Ferrari, Charles Leclerc there just comfortably out in front in the Constructors' Championship, but yeah, we're sat 7th overall in the drivers, 4th overall in the Constructors. We are really hitting our stride currently in the Haas Road to Glory, and fingers crossed Monza, like I said, the Temple of Speed, should be a track that suits our car. Hopefully we can have a good weekend. Let's get into qualifying. Imperium experiences are back and better than ever. This time they are offering you the chance to win a weekend of a lifetime at the 2022 season finale in Abu Dhabi. This includes a 4-night accommodation at a 5-star hotel and travel to and from the circuit included every day. All you need to do is click the link down in my description and enter the competition on their website. But hurry, with only 1,500 tickets available and the competition closing on the 14th of September, you definitely don't want to miss out on this. So click the link down in the description below, and a massive thank you to Imperium for sponsoring this video. Right, well here we are then, qualifying day from the Italian GP, and surprisingly a damp session here. Now, if we've learned anything from damp qualifying sessions at Monza on F1 22, is that I'm not very good at them. Remembering back to a few weeks ago in the My Team series, unfortunately, yeah, that weekend certainly was one to forget. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see as to how we get on. We could see some changeable conditions, though. Track is meant to improve as this session goes on, so it could be one of those ones where it's just about trying to get as many laps under your belt as possible. It could also be one of those sessions where last car on a run has got a big advantage there as we try and put the power down out of the first couple of turns. Practice went pretty smoothly, a couple of purple scores as you would expect, but qualifying we can see a really mixed up grid here, and safe to say, mixed up grids is what we've been able to do quite a lot recently. Fernando Alonso sets the benchmark with a 1:26.6. We are going to be a long way off that, just based on how much we've lost to the McLaren in front of me over this lap, but there were a couple of mistakes on my run. Russell slots himself in a couple of tenths quicker than the Alpine, as that is not only going to ruin one lap, but also ruin the start of the next there, as the McLaren doesn't even go purple. And we're slower than Latifi. That really says it all there. 1.3 off our teammate Mick Schumacher. The AI are incredibly strong over one lap in the wet here. This is going to be a tough session. Here we go then, big improvements coming out as we come towards the end of our second run though. I think we're going to see just times constantly dropping though as qualifying goes on. As long as I don't mess up the run through the final corner this time, there should be a bit more pace in the back pocket, and up towards the line then we are pretty much going to match the time set by our teammate Mick Schumacher. We slot up into 6th, half-second away from Ricciardo. Right, well here we go then, 30 seconds left on the clock, and like I said, I think the aim is just going to be to try and be the last car on a run here, but there is such a swarm of cars around us. I don't know whether everyone else is finishing their laps or just about to start them as well, but as we round out the final corner, track hasn't cleared up enough for dries. It's still getting the sense that it's incredibly slippery around the circuit there, but 15 seconds as we cross over the line. And where are we going to be able to improve ourselves to? We're pretty much going to get dropped right to the rear of the field. So this is going to have to be one big last-ditch attempt here at Monza as we thread our way through the first chicane. That horrible understeer through the second part. And really struggle to put the power down on the exits. There we go. Zhou Guanyu jumping up past me. Lando Norris getting the better of me. We are going to be just ahead of the Canadians at the moment, but even they're improving. So we have definitely got to try and get this lap nailed in. It is a one-shot qualifying session as Max Verstappen dips into the 124s. Beautiful traction out of the next chicane though as we head through the top Lesmos. Carlos Sainz puts Ferrari on pole. I'm sure we'll hear a huge eruption from the crowd as Sergio Perez though goes even faster in his Red Bull. So everyone is still improving then late on in qualifying here. Even Latifi's gone faster than me, so we absolutely do need to find the time. Have to be brave through Ascari, tip the car in nicely over the curbing. And I really am trying to tap that last curb there as well. We just used the curbs. We used a lot of curbs for Ascari, I think is what we can sum up there. But 8/10 up though, as we head down in towards the final corner. There is definitely time left through Parabolica as we try and head through nice and tidy on the way in. Try and get on the loud pedal on the way out. Up towards the line, we are going to find another second. But where is that going to move us up to? P14. It's not great. It's really not great based on recent qualifyings, but it'll have to do.
We're all ready for tomorrow's race, but before we begin, let's have a quick look at those who'll be fronting the grid. Perez, Sainz, and Lewis Hamilton. Well, that wraps up qualifying, but don't worry, we'll be back tomorrow as we head into the Grand Prix.
Well, there we go then. Sergio Perez, an unlikely pole position here at Monza, but that's what the changeable conditions can do. Sergio ahead of Sainz and Hamilton there with Verstappen and Fernando Alonso. Charles Leclerc down in P12, so a horrible qualifying for him, but look at Mick Schumacher up there in P6. Love that. Our teammate there showcasing the pace the car's got. A whole second quicker than myself, but really struggled in qualifying. Hopefully when we get into the race though, things can go our way. Let's get into it then. Italian GP time. This channel is proudly sponsored by Bybit, the official crypto partner of Red Bull's Formula 1 team. I've been using their platform for my personal crypto savings over the last few months, and when they got in touch to support the channel, I was super excited. Currently, they're offering you guys a special new promo for the first 100 of you to deposit $10 or more onto the platform. You'll get another $10 free. Also, 5 lucky winners will get their initial deposit doubled up to $1,000. That means if you deposited $1,000 onto the platform using my codes below, you could be within a chance to get another $1,000 completely free. We've seen the landscape around crypto drastically change over the last couple of years, and I genuinely believe it holds an important place in our future. However, please be careful as always when trading, as you are liable to lose money. But if you're interested and you're 18 or older, click the link down below to get started and see why Red Bull and myself, as well as thousands of others, trust Bybit as their crypto.
We're back in Italy once again for another round of the Formula 1 World Championship. And what a great race is in store for us today, here at the oldest circuit on the calendar, which hosted its first race all the way back in 1922. We're 12 miles northeast of Milan for today's Grand Prix at a Monza circuit where we can expect top speeds of around 215 miles per hour. 11 corners on this 3.6 mile track, with 7 of those coming in the form of chicanes. And with a good slipstream and DRS open, there should be plenty of opportunity for some passing here today. Before we begin, let's take a quick look at the grid lineup for today's race. It's Sergio Perez on pole today, and Lewis Hamilton completes the front row. As we continue through the rest of the grid today, we have Fernando Alonso, Mick Schumacher, Lando Norris and Russell, Tsunoda, Ocon, Ricciardo and Charles Leclerc. Sainz, they'll be starting further back after an earlier grid penalty. Mr. Monaco, Max Verstappen, they've taken a grid penalty, and Bottas. Stroll, Vettel, Pierre Gasly, they'll be starting further back after an earlier grid penalty, and Guan Yu Zhou, Albon and Nicholas Latifi. Which of these talented drivers will come out on top today? Anthony Davidson joins me once again in the commentary box. Ant, it's fantastic to have you with us here, but I'm curious, as a man with experience out on the track, how do you stop those pre-race nerves from becoming overwhelming when you're lining up on the grid?
Well, I imagine they'll be starting to feel the adrenaline as they anticipate the run down into turn 1, a bit like preparing to go into battle. The unknown situation will bring nerves, but that's a good thing. It will keep them focused on the moment and on their surroundings as we build towards the start of the Grand Prix.
Okay, this is our engine supplier's home Grand Prix, so let's give them a race worth watching.
Right, well, here we are then on the grid here at Monza, and it is Carlos Sainz with some penalties there. Means we're right behind both Ferraris and just ahead of Max Verstappen. Often, I'd say we're completely out of our depth, but based on recent races, we might still be able to fight with these cars. And even if we can work with the two Ferraris to claw our way towards the front, of course, we're focused on the bigger picture, still trying to beat out those Mercs by the end of the year. But I'm going to try and gamble it on a set of soft compound tyres here early on. Then we'll jump over to the hards to see us through to the checkered flag. It's risky, but I do feel like we need that extra grip early on there to try and push ourselves up the order a bit. So hopefully that's going to work for us today. We'll have to wait and see as to how things pan out. It looks like everyone else around me is on those mediums. But yeah, Perez lining up though on the pole. As I'm just... Oh, I want to get on with it, we'll say. Getting ready then to line ourselves up at the Temple of Speed. I love the way you come out of Parabolica and it just opens up to everything you've got down this front straight. I'm sure everyone will be cheering for those Ferrari cars just in front of me. I guess the worst thing we could do is crash into one of them at the start of this Grand Prix. Let's just try and get ourselves lined up nicely on the grid. Perfect launch there. 0.2 meters is as close as you can go on the starting line there. But ready on the grid then. Here at Monza, Italian Grand Prix time, 5 red lights. And it is lights out, and away we go. Oh, just tried to get nice throttle there. Max Verstappen absolutely rocketed away off the line as we got Lance Stroll trying to look around the outside down towards turn 1, but keep it tidy. Oh, we've kind of sent it in there accidentally in the end. Charles Leclerc making up places off the start. I think we're 3 wide off the corner, so we're just going to get hung out to dry a little bit behind Ricciardo and Max Verstappen. They're, of course, their former Red Bull duo, but Ricciardo does not want to give up on places too early there as Sainz just going backwards then down into P13 off the start of this race as Carlos, I thought he was going to go into Ricciardo then as we have to attack the curbs through the second chicane there, and this is not doing either of us any favours early on because we both know, of course, how important the DRS is around this circuit, and Carlos Sainz has absolutely had me there around the outside through the next Lesmo. So yeah, brilliant move by Carlos Sainz early on in this Grand Prix. I mean, we've got all the back marker cars just behind us. Don't really want to spend my afternoon battling them, so we might just have to sit behind Carlos Sainz early on in this Grand Prix and try and just hang on to his coattails. Of course, we have got the softer tyres, but that Ferrari is very, very quick still around this circuit. Look at that, Mick Schumacher. He started P4 in this Grand Prix. He's up to 3rd place by the end of lap 1. Oh, how I would love to see Mick get his first ever Formula 1 podium here as well. That would certainly be a story to tell, as Perez still leads at the end of lap 1. Hamilton locked into P2, and Mick Schumacher up in P3. Love to see that. Here comes Carlos Sainz though on lap 2, having a look towards the outside of Daniel Ricciardo, as I think our teammate Mick Schumacher has unfortunately dropped back down into P4 of this Grand Prix. Can we try and get a run on the Australian though as we head out of the final corner? Can't help but feel we might just have taken a bit too much aero onto the car after qualifying as to the outside of Daniel Ricciardo. I'm going to get the team just to bring down the front wing by a couple of clicks when we do pit. Ricciardo's going to send it here on Sainz, and so am I. Oh god, that's not where you want to be. Down it. That's been a disaster through the first corner. I think though we have somehow got out of that without any front wing damage. Sainz must have seen both Ricciardo and I sending it and just gone, yeah, that's not happening, mate. We got absolutely sandwiched in the middle. We're going to try and keep it up the inside of Ricciardo through the next chicane there and slam the door on the exit. There is no love lost at the start of this race there, but Sainz, somehow all 3 of us get our way with that. That was a bit scary. Well, Charles Leclerc might have had a disastrous qualifying, but he has done phenomenally well early on in this Grand Prix, all the way up to P4 already, as we're now again just sat behind Carlos Sainz here. The thing is, there's no real point going for a move on the Ferrari at the moment. We may as well work with Carlos, of course, battle with him late on in the Belgian Grand Prix just a couple of weeks ago. But, you know, may as well just use the Ferrari in its straight line speed just to close up for the next cars up the road there. Sort of looking at that gaggle behind Lando Norris. As Mick Schumacher seems to have found his footing in P5. Maybe he can try and hang on to the other Ferrari. So here we go then. Sights now all over the back of Yuki Tsunoda in this Grand Prix. So I'm sure we're going to see him get a run there. Look at that Ferrari down towards turn 1 there. That's got to be 220 miles an hour from Carlos Sainz back into the braking zone. But Tsunoda not wanting to give up on it just yet. I want to see how we can try and utilise this to our advantage, as Tsunoda will hang on actually in his AlphaTauri. There, here comes Carlos Sainz, the backer up the inside, or around the outside even I should say, through Curva Grande. Is he going to be able to keep the run around the outside there? Tsunoda's still trying to square him off. Sainz is going to send it. Well, again, we're just going to try and sit back. That is a very aggressive move from Carlos Sainz there. Unfortunately, we can't quite put the power down and launch ourselves past Yuki either, as he was horribly offline there. No! I'm just watching Sainz break free at the front of this little group as Tsunoda, come on, we have to dispose of the AlphaTauri immediately. Here is to the outside. We'll go. That car's certainly not as quick as ours anyway, around a circuit, never mind down a straight. And are we going to be able to complete the move on Yuki Tsunoda? Yeah, very, very early on the brakes there from the young Japanese driver. And that will mean, oh, a little bit wide on the exit, but we are still within 1 second of Carlos. Next up, Verstappen, nearly 4 seconds up the road as he's duking out with one of our big title rivals in George Russell. Oh, what's happened to Verstappen suddenly? I'm guessing Verstappen and George Russell got their elbows out. And Verstappen now has slotted in behind Carlos Sainz in this Grand Prix. So yeah, not too sure what happened to the Dutchman. Are we now going to be able to get a run then on Maximilian as we head out onto the back straight? Surely we're not going to be able to hang close enough at the moment, nor do we really want to, as here comes Verstappen back on Sainz. So we head down in towards the Ascari chicane. There we go. Carlos Sainz is being an absolute legend today, helping me out there and round the outside of Max Verstappen through Ascari in a Haas. You won't see that very often on F122. Max clearly not happy with that one. Straight back up the inside through Parabolica. Are we going to be able to hook it up round the outside? There we are, going to be drag racing at the final corner. We've only gone and done it. The Dutchman must be absolutely seething with that. I'm sure he feels completely mugged off. And Max Verstappen does not like to get mugged off. Coming towards the end then of lap 7. And the tyre wear warning light has just flashed up. So we are going to have to be a bit careful of that. And we are going to have to box at the end of this lap, I think. You know, the hard tyres, once you get them up to temperature, will pretty much go forever around this circuit. And I do feel like the softs were a worthwhile venture early on in this Grand Prix, but I worry now we're going to say farewell to Carlos Sainz for the rest of the afternoon. We need to be aggressive on pit lane entry. We are going to come in some clear air still. Oh, just about got the car slowed down into the pit lane, but I think we were the only car in this Grand Prix that was on a set of the soft compound tyres. So yeah, we are going to have a few laps in no man's land, but as long as we re-emerge still around Verstappen, you know, on the cusp of points, can't be too disappointed. As 2.3 seconds stop, that's pretty good based on Haas standards. But yeah, now we've got some clear air. Let's just get these tyres warmed up and keep grinding out the laps. It's always quite difficult when you're in a bit of no man's land. We are taking good time out of the Williams, but they're not exactly the benchmark that we're racing against this weekend. 31 seconds. Oh, we are still obviously going to be a little way behind Mick Schumacher, but I've got no idea where we are going to re-emerge. Try not to use too much battery either, of course, because we're going to need that to attack later on. Then everyone else is going to be on fresher tyres. Even everyone is going to make the switch over onto hards. It is difficult testing times in this race. Oh, there we go. First cars into the pit lane, so now we should get an idea of where we're going to re-emerge in this Grand Prix, hoping Mick Schumacher gets a nice, clean, tidy stop. As yeah, we have been setting good, consistent times. Oh, we got yellow flags out though. Someone's got issues in this Grand Prix. No idea who that might be, and I'm hoping it's not a safety car. Otherwise, that is going to completely ruin our afternoon. And it's not going to be a safety car because apparently no one's got issues anymore. So I'm not too sure what happened there, but we can just see Mick Schumacher heading back out of the pit lane. He's actually near Daniel Ricciardo. So I think Mick has been held up, of course. All these guys are going to be on cold rubber, as that must be Max Verstappen just in front. So Mick Schumacher has definitely lost out then in a big, big way through the pit window. That is heartbreaking to see for our teammate. But it does mean we are still roughly in the ballpark. As I think now we're basically going to see all the other cars into the pit lane then. The end of lap 13, halfway through this Italian Grand Prix. Of course, time really does fly around the Monza circuit. Oh, not quite getting the car where I needed it through Parabolica that time round. Hopefully we can still try and get a good run. And hopefully we're going to re-emerge at least near the points then in this race. It is going to be... who is that? It's Carlos Sainz there. So we've actually come out ahead of the Ferrari. There's Ricciardo now trying to make a move on Mick Schumacher. We've got George Russell going slowly in towards turn 1. It is all kicking off at the moment. It's our contact between Ricciardo and our teammate. It's just a little squirrel there on the throttle. That was tense stuff between me and our teammate Mick Schumacher here. So I'm going to try and use the battery to get a run on Ricciardo there. Mick Schumacher's going to get boxed in behind him. There's even more contact. Ricciardo, we have to hop over the chicane there. And we do get an illegal overtake like I imagined we probably would. That's to avoid the Australian there, as Mick Schumacher's going to try and come back at me again off the corner. We have to give our teammate space. We'll slot in behind him for now. See if we can try and get a run off the corner there, as Mick Schumacher desperate to put the power down. And we're going to get immediately the run back on our teammate. So it is all kicking off then here at Monza, side by side with Mick Schumacher. I'm not committed. I cannot commit there against our teammate in this Grand Prix as we get all over its gearbox once more. But yeah, this hasn't worked out particularly well for either Haas car then. He's lost out quite a lot through the pit window. I mean, we've still got those Alpines running quite high up the order. But if we can hang on to Ricciardo, I am kind of expecting Sainz though just to move past this group. So it is only going to be one of us that scores points here, most likely. I think we're going to see Mick Schumacher have another go at Ricciardo as they get back down towards turn 1. At the moment, I'm just trying to sit back and play the long game. Of course, on much, much older tyres than any of these cars, as Ricciardo and Mick Schumacher do go side by side through turn 1. Again, just a little bit of wheel banging on the exit. But are we going to see Mick Schumacher try and pull back at the inside in towards the second chicane? It's not an uncommon move to be attempted on F122. The AI do love a good dive bomb around Monza, and all Mick Schumacher just puts half the wing there. Just makes Ricciardo check his mirrors into the braking zone, but we'll slot back for now, as we're just going to sit back patiently. I'm guessing Sainz has got an issue on that Ferrari, because he is barely hanging on to us, never mind applying any pressure. So yeah, we're just going to try and sit back for now and just work out how we can play this into our hands. Mick Schumacher again looking for it though as we get back down towards turn 1. Are we going to see him finally now make a move on the Australian? No, he does not, and we again get round the outside of our teammate Mick Schumacher in this Grand Prix. It's going to be the inside through Curva Grande. Are we going to be able to make this move happen now? As we've got to just be a bit careful. Mick Schumacher always used to likes to use a lot of deploy on the exit. Oh no, Mick Schumacher! We're going to again have to hop over the curbing, but our teammate just picked up a load of front wing damage. Come on, Mick, you have to go for it. I'm going to get a penalty otherwise. It's all getting a bit chaotic here at Monza still, and I just didn't want to get involved. I didn't know where Mick Schumacher was going to fly off there. Big lockup. And why is he trying to race me so hard? Alex Albon style, as now Mick Schumacher started up in P4, was up in the podium places early on in this race. He better back out of it now. Yes, he does. Yeah, it was podium places at the end of lap 1, and now he's basically going to be in last place in the Italian Grand Prix here. What a disastrous afternoon it's turned out for our young German teammate, but we've now got to try and close back in on Ricciardo. We might have nothing to defend ourselves from Sainz for a couple of laps. As we come to start lap 19, I can't help but think my new best mate Carlos Sainz, we might have to try and use the Spaniard again here, as I'm going to just let him fly past me back down towards turn 1. No real point defending from the Ferrari car, and hopefully he can try and drag me to Daniel Ricciardo later on in this race. Less than 10 to go now. And it's so weird, I hyped up Monza and thought we'd struggle at Zandvoort. We ended up winning the Dutch Grand Prix, and at the moment we're still not inside the top 10. It's weird times in the Haas Road to Glory, but I'm hoping now Sainz can just drag us to Danny Rick, and then we can try and snooker away that final point from the Australian. Oh, Sebastian Vettel out of this Grand Prix there, and yeah, shades of the real life Italian GP in 2022 for the German. Of course, yeah, so much history for Seb around this circuit, so much of it positive in the early years. And unfortunately, those happy memories turn into nightmares later on in his F1 career. But yeah, latching onto the back of Sainz is working for me. Daniel Ricciardo now less than 1.5 seconds away. It's Sainz, you can just see how hard he's still pushing here. He's not had a fun afternoon. You can see Charles Leclerc's already moved up to P2 in this race. and Sainz just has not made progress. Let's just make sure, though, that when Sainz does move past Danny Rick, that we're there to pounce. So here we go then, I think now 5 to go. Sainz is probably going to try and get a run on Daniel Ricciardo. Back down in towards the first corner here, and is the Spaniard going to be able to make anything happen? No, he is not. That McLaren is not slow down the straight still, it must be said. And now, all three of us nose to tail, squabbling over the last couple of points. I mean, by some miracle, we could still walk away with P9 here. I'm kind of hoping Sainz gets past him. I can then start battling Danny Rick, and then Sainz can just run away. So then hopefully we can just focus on slipstreaming the Australian. Why is Mick it again? Just retire the car if it's going this badly, Mick Schumacher. Oh, you'd hate to see it. Here we go, Sainz this time round surely now is going to get the run on Daniel Ricciardo, who goes defensive back in towards turn 1. We got yellow flags out though. Sainz won't be able to complete the move as all this carnage down in turn 1, and we got a safety car. What on earth has gone on there? Well, my only guess is Max Verstappen's had issues going down towards turn 1. No, Lando Norris has already binned it by himself, and just everyone can't get through there. So we've had a roadblock down at turn 1. That's the first time I've seen that on F1 22, apart from, I think, in Imola, during one of my pre-game sort of showcase videos. But a roadblock down at turn 1, we got a safety car, and suddenly we're up in the points. I mean, surely this does raise the other question as well. 3 laps to go here at Monza. They can't finish this race under safety car, can they? That would be absurd. There we go then, safety car right at the end of this lap, and unfortunately for me, our tyre wear warning light has just come on, but we are going to have 2 more laps of racing. This Sainz, get on with it, man! Why are you just sat here? Come on, we need to get closer to this group of cars. What is Sainz doing? Mate, just get on with it. We could be right near them, ready for the restart, and Sainz is just not interested as we head through the final corners. What on earth is going on down at Ferrari? I mean, we need to be ready to pounce now on the Spaniard out of the final corner, and that's exactly what we're going to try and do there, but we've got to not do it before the restart line. And there we go, green flag racing for 2 more laps here at Monza, and just look how ridiculous that Ferrari is. We're going to force Sainz right down to the inside. That Sainz and I might have got in each other's head there. Oh no. Oh, that has been... I mean, we can still try and hang on. Nothing's going to be able to happen here. As going to see George Russell now, and more contact, and someone else. Has Sainz seriously got no damage out of all that? Sainz absolutely ran the Alpine as well, just in front of me. But at the moment, we're just trying to hang on and see if we can walk away with a couple of points still here, as we're losing places left, right and centre. But Lando Norris can't seem to commit to the move. And I mean, could we still hang on for something? I mean, Sainz now has somehow barged his way up into 4th place in this Grand Prix, despite not being at the right place during the restart. It has been the weirdest Italian Grand Prix, and it looks like it's going to be ending with absolute carnage here, as I'm trying to drag around a car with half a wing on the final couple of laps there. Ocon now is suddenly into P9. Could we still score a point here? It's going to require a miracle, but we've now got a little bit of a breakaway from those other cars. This is like Hamilton trying to finish at Silverstone. Sainz has boxed, so he definitely did pick up front wing damage, and we've just got to try and keep going then on this final lap, because now, even if we drop behind the Alpine and the McLarens, we would still be P10 here. I mean, it was a terrible move down at turn 1 there, as that was one of Lando Norris trying to look back at the inside, but at the moment, I mean, Monza is the perfect track for this to happen, to be honest, because of course you have just got all these straights there. I'm completely using all the battery on this final lap, and I wonder if there's other cars with damage as well. This is going to be the weirdest end to a Grand Prix here, with half a wing as we round through the final few corners. It is really the Lesmos and Ascari that we've got to try and survive for, and all we've got to do is just keep it on the apexes and don't allow Lando Norris to get a run off the corners there, as Mick Schumacher out of nowhere has set a fastest lap of the Grand Prix. It looks like Perez is just about going to hang on to the race victory here. We've just got to deploy absolutely everything we've got on this final lap here as we head down in towards the Ascari chicane for the final time then. Just nice straight line braking, and to be honest, the car doesn't feel too bad, despite the fact it's got half a wing there. Here comes Lando Norris though to the outside, in towards the final corner. I would not want to be there, my friend, as Esteban Ocon trying to have a look potentially as well for a move. Sergio Perez is going to win the Italian Grand Prix. Is Lando Norris going to be able to hook it up? No, he is not. we hang him out to dry there off the corner, and we drag it home for P7.
Alright, race over. Take care of the car on the way in.
They made great use of the clear air today and didn't allow anyone to exploit the slipstream behind them. What a great win here at Monza. Well, Anthony Davidson, a resounding victory today, but what set them apart from the rest?
Well, I honestly feel it was down to the driver and car today. I mean, we can talk driver skill all day, but if you don't have a solid team to back that, you're never going to get anywhere. When you hit that sweet spot of having both an excellent driver and an incredible car, that's when you see results like those we witnessed today.
The drivers are en route to the podium as we speak. What a fantastic win for the Red Bull team. They performed exceptionally today, keeping us firmly on the edge of our seats throughout the entirety of the race. Congratulations to everybody at the team. So let's see what effect this result has had on the drivers' standings. Charles Leclerc, currently leading the championship standings, extends his lead even further with this result. Well, after an incredible day of racing, who was your driver of the day, Ant?
Often my go-to would be a driver who's managed to pull off an especially impressive feat during the race. However, in this instance, I was more impressed by Max Verstappen's solid, clean driving throughout the event.
It's time to see how things are shaping up in the Constructors' Championship. The lead at the top comes down after a strong weekend from the challenging pack. Well, that was certainly an exciting weekend of Formula One. Be sure to join us for more exciting Formula One action very soon.
Well, there we are then, the end of the Italian Grand Prix, and what a weird way to finish that race there, just hanging on ahead of Esteban Ocon and both McLaren cars. And really, we spent all afternoon struggling. We have absolutely been blessed there with a P7, never mind the fashion in which we were able to walk away with it. But Perez does take the race victory, like we said. Charles Leclerc, phenomenal drive through the field, 10th to 2nd place. Max Verstappen as well, underrated by him. 13th to 4th there, come the checkered flag. Fernando Alonso unlucky to miss out in the end on some big points, but 5th place is not bad for Alpine, ahead of George Russell, myself, and yeah, Ocon and both of those McLarens there. Mick Schumacher had a bit of a disaster, finishing down in 19th place, and I mean, yeah, Leclerc has pulled out big points over his one rival, Carlos Sainz, come the end of the weekend. Championship-wise, though, it does mean, yep, Charles Leclerc now with a 45-point lead at the top of the table. Verstappen still comfortably in at P3, but Perez is keeping him honest over the course of this year. We're now just 14 points back from Hamilton and 4 behind George Russell there, and Daniel Ricciardo leapfrogs his way past Pierre Gasly a bit further down the order as well. Constructors-wise, Aston Martin continue to push forward, except for they don't. They're still last. No other movers, though, in the Constructors' Championship. It really is just going to require a miracle from Aston Martin there if they want to try and jump Williams back into P9. But thank you all so much for watching this video. If you have enjoyed, please do make sure you leave a like. Get yourself subscribed as well. And we will return very soon with more F1 Haas Road to Glory. None of these videos would be possible without the help of our channel members, so a massive thank you to all of the names you see on your screens currently for helping support the channel. You can join them by clicking the join button down below, and yeah, thank you once again to everyone that continues all the insane support on my work.